And Kathie Lee joins us this morning. Hi, Kath. How are you doing?
I'm good, you guys. How are you? Hard to listen to that, you know.
I was just thinking here, Kath. You know, you talked about Regis, like we said, almost as much as you talked about your own kids on the show. And I loved when we spoke over the weekend. You said, you know, I just saw him a couple of weeks ago. So tell us about that. How was he?
Yeah, I was up from Tennessee, where I live most of the time, and of course the first call I always make is to Regis and Joy, and they still are here in the summer times. And I said, can we get together? Can we have some lunch? So they came over about 2 weeks ago. I saw Regis get out of the car with Joy, and I sensed much more fragility than I'd seen in him since the last time in January out in Los Angeles. So I had made them their favorite. I hadn't, but this wonderful friend of mine, Andy, did. Their favorite thing is called frutti di mare, and it's just big bowl of just deliciousness. And we sat and right here on my screen porch, and we laughed ourselves sick. We always just picked up right where we left off. You know, I was with him 15 years, but it's been 20 years since I left the show. Wow. And we became dear friends through the years since then, just always getting together every chance we could and just picking up, as I said, right where we left off. So we just had the best time. And after they left, I just thought to myself, Lord, is that the last time I'm going to see my friend? Because he was failing, I could tell. Yeah, but I then called, of course, I don't know, something told me the other day when I was in Tennessee, get on a plane and go home. Get on a plane. And I didn't know why, but I've learned to listen to that voice. I got on the plane, came home, and immediately heard the news about Regis. Called Joy immediately and talked with her. And yesterday, drove over to her house with a big vat of, you know, frutti di mare, and one of every gift wine I had to give to her and the girls. And they were in their living room going through pictures, and there were thousands of pictures, and we just reminisced for a little while. I didn't want to intrude on their private family time, because I remember what that was like. It's been 5 years almost since Frank passed, and you love your friends reaching out, but you also desperately need that private time as a family. So anyway, I was just grateful to have the time with them and comfort them a little bit, let them know that I believed with all my heart that I know where Regis is and I know who he's with, because I had many conversations with him over the years about faith and about where we go when this life is over. And he was very curious, as always, listened. We always respected each other's opinions so highly. You know, in all the years that we were together, we never had one crossword, not one. Hoda, you and I don't think did either, but we only were 11.
No, we were only 11. I know, but I got to say, Kat,
but our friendship lives on the same way.
Well, it does. It does. And I always think that Regis was your first. And I remember when Regis was on the show, and he said this, and I love this. He said, Kathie Lee, I want you to know the best part of my life, my TV life, was the 15 years I spent with you. I mean, and you had with Regis magic. Like, I have never seen anything like what you two had. Why do you think that was the case? What was it? What was it?
You know, I think we both came from a place, we'd been performers all our lives. So when we got together, it wasn't, you and I had a different challenge because you had come from the world of journalism. Took us a little bit more. It took time for you to start trusting your instincts as a performer, because you're a better actress than Regis ever was an actor. But he was an entertainer in his guts, and so was I. And so when we came together, although we didn't have a friendship yet, we had a mutual respect for what we had accomplished already in our careers, and we had the same sense of humor. And I wasn't afraid of him, and he sure as heck was not afraid of me. And we just took off like a rocket. And we both had this in common, too. We said we don't want to be we loved being a local piece of slime show. That's what we called ourselves. And we had no intentions of becoming bigger than that. We were happy doing that little show. And we always said we'll never go syndicated unless somebody comes along and just puts us up on a satellite and says, don't change anything. Just be who you are, because it works. And that's what happens sometimes when what we call the suits get involved. They're good at what they do business-wise, but they should not mess with what works chemistry-wise on camera. And we had it, and we just developed it as the years went on. In today's world, they probably wouldn't have left us on for 2 years before we really found our tempo. And but they did back then. And by the third year of doing the local show, Disney came along and syndicated us, and it changed the landscape of daytime television forever. It just did.
Kath,
we didn't know. We weren't trying to do that. We were just being who we were.
You're so generous, Kath, because I feel like you shared Regis with us by inviting him into the Today Show, and then we got to know him a little bit too. And one thing I just always noticed about him was he's just so full of joy. He was just like, you looked at him and you smiled. He just exuded joy and love of this business. Where did that come from?
You know, I think I always said he was the most grateful person in the world. He never forgot where he came from. And he worked from the bottom up, as you guys said so rightly in the intro. He was just happy to be on a set. He was just happy to be looking at Joey Bishop. Next thing you know, he's sitting next to Joey Bishop. He just was always comfortable in his own skin and always felt like the luckiest guy in the world. And I used to say to him, not luck, Reg, blessed. He goes, you're right, blessed. And I always felt that way, too. I always felt like I'm Waldo. What am I doing here? You know, I've always had a sense of incredible gratitude about, of all the people in the world, Lord, you put me there? But God has purposes we can't understand. And when I ran down the street from the other daytime show in my sneakers, and he gave me, you know, a hard time, right? Oh, so it's going to be like this? And I said, it's going to be like this. And we never, ever tried to pretend we were anything but what we were. Two people who loved each other, who were happy to be together, and we had the biggest secret known to the whole world, but they don't do it. We had fun. F-U-N, and it's contagious. And Hoda, you and I had fun, and it's contagious.
We did.
And as we started working together, we started spending our lives together too. You remember you came to my that first Thanksgiving. You and your mom came, and your mom sat there with Frank and watched the football game, and you came to my place in Nantucket, and then we started going to theater every Wednesday and having lunch. And you know, when it spills over, your screen time spills over into real time, and you start crying with each other over the hurts in your life, and laughing yourselves, as I said, silly or even sick at times. I had to excuse myself many times with Regis and go a little someplace and deal with it, if you know what I'm saying.
Kath, do you remember Regis filled in for me one day, and we showed a couple of clips. It was when you had that bird on your head, and you and Regis walked to the big window where everybody was walking by. And what happened when you guys stood there?
Nobody cared.
Nobody cared. Not one person.
Everybody,
waved,
they
not
go,
one person.
it's New York. Who cares? Oh yeah, there's Kathie Lee with the bird on her head. What else?
But that kind of humor, you guys just let it go. I mean, there are 1,000 of those moments that you've had in your life with here and with Regis.
Oh my gosh, you know, when we first started, we had no idea what we had, but we knew what we didn't want. We didn't want writers. We didn't want a million producers. We didn't want it overproduced. We just wanted to sit there and have fun together. I think we started out talking for just a couple of minutes, and then we'd go off and have guests and everything else. But by the time the last couple of years we were together, it was 23 minutes of nonstop. And we never talked before the show. We never knew what we didn't have elements. We didn't have what they call elements in our business. He'd hold up the newspaper and we're off to the races. Or I'd say, Cody threw up and we were off to the races. And we never planned it. And it's kind of like life. We never know what's going to happen next in life. So let it happen. Let it be. Don't try to micromanage real moments. You're going to miss out on the most important thing, which is the humanity of things. We let the humanity of things we gave it time to work out. And I'll never forget one time we were doing this crystal thing, and he's laying there, and I don't believe in any of that stuff, but anyway, I'm having fun with it, and I've got the crystal and everything, and the person says, well, just drop it. Well, I dropped it right where you shouldn't drop anything on a man. And he had a visceral effect. And I go, it's working. It's working.
Hey, just before you go.
Moments like that you can't make up.
Before you go, just what will you miss the most about Regis?
Everything.
Oh.
I'm just so grateful. I'm just so grateful the Lord gave me that final time. And it was so precious because when I talked to Joy the day that I found out, right after he had passed, she said, Kathie, he hadn't laughed in a long, long time. She said, I was so worried about him. He just wasn't, I think he was like Frank, he's just ready, you know? And so many of his friends had died. His dearest friend had died a week before, of corona, actually. He was, you know, ready to go. And she said, and the day that we came to have lunch with you, she said, was the last time I heard him laugh. So
Wow.
that's just, that will forever be a precious gift the Lord gave me, that I got to laugh again with one of my best friends in all my lifetime.
We love you, Kath. We love you.
You are a gift to each other.
Thanks. I love you
and to
guys
us.
too.
We love
Please
you,
give my
sweetheart.
love to if there's anybody
will.
there. If there's anybody there, give them my love.
We love you,
Good to see you,
Kath.
Kathie Lee.
Hi, Kath.
Thanks for being here.
Love you guys.
We're back after local news.